Welcome to HACCP. Today we're cutting through the noise. No jargon, no fluff, just what you need to understand and to put it into action within your operation. Let's start off today's session with a question. Why do food safety systems fail? You see, it's not because managers don't know the rules. It's because they don't have a system to connect them. And HACCP is that system. By the end of this video, you'll not only know the 7 principles, but you'll see how they fit into one clear plan of action. Let's talk about what HACCP stands for. Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points. It's a proactive food safety system. Watch how I said the word proactive and not reactive. We don't want to be in a reactive state when something goes wrong. And that's why in food safety, we have to take proactive approaches to be better managers, not just ServSafe food protection managers, but better managers in general. Instead of waiting for people to get sick, HACCP stops hazards before they happen. So let's discuss the 7 principles that make up conducting a hazard analysis and finding the critical control points. Principle 1, we got to conduct a hazard analysis. We have to identify every possible hazard within our operation. A biological hazard could be like salmonella. Chemical could be from cleaning residue. A physical hazard can be the glass or the metal shavings from cans that we open. An example here of conducting a hazard analysis is raw chicken carries the salmonella risk during the receiving and storage process. Principle number 2, we have to identify critical control points, or CCPs. These are the exact steps where a hazard must be controlled. The example here is cooking chicken to a safe internal temperature. Principle number 3, we have to establish the critical limits. At each critical control point, also known as CCP, you need a measurable standard. For chicken, that's 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 seconds. And if you don't hit that limit, you don't control the hazard. Principle 4, we have to monitor procedures. We can't assume limits are being met. We have to step in and check for ourselves. An example here would be to use a calibrated thermometer every time chicken is cooked. Principle number 5, we got to take corrective actions here. What do you do when limits aren't met? If the chicken's undercooked, it goes back on the grill, problem fixed, before we serve it. Principle number 6, we need verification. How do we know that the system itself is working? Your example here is that managers review temp logs on a weekly basis to confirm that staff are monitoring those temperatures correctly. And principle 7, we record keep. This is your paper trail. If you don't write it down, it never happened. So that includes your temp logs, corrective actions, manager sign-offs. If the health inspector asks, you've got proof that your system works. So let's put it all together. And I do apologize in advance. I know the words on the screen are a bit small, but I wanted to put the full plan together so that you could see it from step 1 to step 7. So first we're receiving, right? We got to receive it off the truck. We got to check the freshness, and we got to check to make sure that the packaging has not been tampered with or there's no punctures, etc. Then we store it in a proper temperature controlled environment. It's a TCS food, temperature control for safety, right? So we have to hold it at or below the temperature danger zone. And the temperature danger zone is 41 to 135. We want to keep food hot above 135 and keep cold food cold, 41 degrees or lower. Nothing ever in between. ServSafe makes it very clear there are a few exceptions for air temperatures, such as milk and eggs. Those things can be received at a slightly higher temperature, but they must be brought back into a refrigerated unit and cooled immediately to bring it down in temperature. Next, we got to prep the food. We got to prevent the cross-contamination. We got to make sure that we're separating our raw food from our cooked food. We got to make sure that we're using color code cutting boards to prevent the spread of bacteria, the transfer of bacteria from one surface to another. That is, by definition, cross-contamination. Then after we've prepped the food, we're going to cook it, and we're going to make sure that we cook it to the proper internal temperature to prevent the spread of bacteria. And that spread of bacteria, for example, here in chicken is salmonella. So to prevent that, we're going to cook the chicken to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for a minimum of 15 seconds. And if it's not at the proper temperature, we're going to make sure we cook it until it reaches above 165. Then we need to make sure that we're monitoring. Use a thermometer. Check every batch, every chicken, every burger that goes out in your restaurant. Check it to make sure it is hitting the minimum internal temperature. If it's not hitting the minimum internal temperature, that's where corrective action comes in. And we recook it. We recook undercooked chicken. Then we need to verify. We need to verify that our manager checks the logs weekly. We need to make sure that there is accountability in place. Whoever's signing off, we make sure that it's something they're doing on a consistent basis. This is called the verification check. And in food service and in life, you know the old saying, if it's not written down, it never happened. So we got to keep accurate records here. Keep them within reach so that if, in the event that your health inspector asks for it, you have it on file and ready to show them. So those could be daily temp logs that we keep on file. And that's it. That's HACCP, Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points. That is real life and real life scenario. It's not theory, it's practice. So here are key takeaways from today's lesson. HACCP is not paperwork. It's you being proactive to create a proactive playbook. It's the 7 steps or the 7 principles that form the backbone of every food safety plan. And as managers, remember, not just as ServSafe food protection managers, not just because we took the test and we passed it. Now comes the hard work where we need to enforce it. As managers, we need to act as coaches to our team. And your job is to enforce and to teach this system on a daily basis. Let's test your knowledge with 5 quick questions. I'll read them to you, and then you can go into the description down below and find the answer. Question 1, which principle involves setting cooking temps? Question 2, which is an example of a corrective action? Question 3, what does verification ensure? Question 4, a broken thermometer affects which principle the most? And question 5, why is record keeping critical? Folks, the answers will be in the description and the show notes. I encourage you to check those out. But in closing, here's what I want you to know. Your HACCP is not paperwork. It's not just another piece of paper. It is your playbook for prevention. Put it into action. Your staff, your guests, and your business will depend on it. If you got value out of today's video, we encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and if you want to be the first to know when new content hits this page, turn on the notification bell by clicking the bell and choosing all, and you'll get notified when new content has hit this page.